President, who are you considering for the replacement to nominate for Lisa Cook, and what economic background or history are you?
Well, we have some very good people for that position, and I think we have some very good people. We're down to, I mean, I think I maybe in my own mind have somebody that I like, but I deal with Scott and I deal with Howard, and we're dealing with a lot of people actually that are going to be involved in that decision ultimately. It's a very important decision, as we see.
A makeover underway at the Federal Reserve, and I'm not talking about the multi-billion-dollar renovation, the Taj Mahal, because this time it's all made with the American taxpayer in mind, just Americans in general. Welcome to the Big Money Show. I'm Dagan McDowell, joined by my co-hosts Charlie Gasparino, Brian Brenberg, Kevin O'Leary, and with us for this entire hour, Fox Business host David Asman.
There I am.
Earlier this month, President Trump tapped Stephen Myron. Thank you so much. Somebody's phone's going off. Longtime economic advisor to fill the seat held by former Fed Governor Adriana Kugler. Got that name right. The president now considering switching Myron to a longer-term seat. Kugler's seat is up at the beginning of next year, like Lisa Cook's, and have someone else fill Kugler's seat. This is all dependent, though, on Lisa Cook actually leaving. She has lawyered up, choosing an attorney by the name of Abby Lowell. Does that sound familiar? And Abby Lowell says that she will keep working at the central bank as he files suit to challenge Trump's illegal action. Who wants it? David Asman?
I'll take it.
You're the elder statesman.
Well,
have you ever seen anything like this?
I guess I am.
Someone's
Incredible.
finally older than me on this set.
Well, just barely, Charlie. Two things very quickly. One, Secretary Bessent said it this morning with Marie. He said, the one thing we haven't heard from Ms. Cook is, I didn't do it. And that's important because it leads to the questions of exactly what was going on. And now she's innocent until proven guilty. I get that, but she's at a very important point. And he went on to say, more than any other bank, the Fed operates on the basis of trust. I mean, we saw how important trust was in 2008 and 9, and Governor Cook's actions undermine that trust. So I know she hasn't been charged or convicted of anything, but again, the trust is in doubt. The Fed itself detailed what kind of harm this could do, the kind of action she took in a Federal Reserve Bank memo from the Philadelphia Federal Reserve Bank, owner occupancy fraud. And very quickly, I'm just going to read, these fraudulent borrowers, like what she's accused of doing, perform substantially worse than similar declared investors defaulting at a 75% higher rate. Their defaults are also likelier to be strategic, suggesting that they pose a risk. This was one of the factors that led to the 2008 financial crisis. This is what led to subprime mortgages, this kind of behavior. If she is guilty of this, and there's enough suspicion now to suggest that at the very least she should be suspended, she really does no good to the Fed trying to get its reputation back.
It's based on that study, it was close to 4% of the mortgages that they looked at, and typically not the kind that are gone after in terms of prosecutions. They usually go after income or misstatements or for mortgage fraud or misrepresenting your income, but not that.
But it's dangerous.
Right. Well, I said this last week, but people do it because a lender, particularly if the mortgage is being sold off to Fannie Mae, they want more money as a down payment on a second home, because if you're not living in the second home, you're more likely to walk away from it if the home is underwater. They want more than 10% down on say, vacation property or second home. So I digress. Charlie, what do you make of all of this, how this plays out? Because talking to people or even looking at the markets, you get a Fed that you want as the president. You might get a bond market that you can't control, that you don't like, with higher long-term interest rates if investors think inflation is not under control. Or you might get a
President Gavin Newsom putting pressure on the Fed, putting his... I mean, there are a lot... This is a really big story, in my view, for a lot of reasons, because it spans not just the economic, there's a legal issue here. I mean, listen, with all due respect, David, I agree with you. Where is her denial, right? But it just rubs me the wrong way to see Bill Pulte, of all people, if you know anything about Bill Pulte, judge, jury, and executioner on this. I mean, it'd be one thing if Pam Bondi said, listen, we've done a big investigation. We looked at this, there is serious discrepancies here. We followed Justice Department, DOJ protocol, and, she's got to go or whatever. We're opening up an investigation. And I get that because that's like there's protocol. But here we got is the dude that runs the FHFA, who, if you ever follow his tweets on meme stocks, you might be shaking your head, automatically saying that this woman is guilty. And, I don't like the fact that she's not denying it. I get that. But that is not the way you should be acting. Because then again, when President Newsom gets in there, if he gets in there, he'll do the same thing, and he'll have every right to say, oh, look, Trump did it, I'll do it.
But I digress, but this is a financial crimes division who identified this mortgage within the federal
he went public
housing because it's being referred to the Department of Justice. And he has no say over who's at the Fed and who isn't. This is an executive decision.
That's not my point.
When I mean...
My point, just let me make my point. My point is Bill Pulte announced this thing on TV. He didn't just, or on Twitter or wherever. He went on TV too. He could have just sent the referral to Pam Bondi. She could have done her due diligence, which is what you expect from the DOJ, and then move on from there. And then if it becomes an issue, if there's just cause, I don't know, there's a legal parameters here. She announces it. Instead, the guy goes on TV and says, or goes on Twitter and says, oh, I found all this stuff out.
Okay, but be that as it may, and that's fine. I hear you on that, but there's still the issue of mortgage fraud.
I got that. I understand that.
I think the guy who's, again, too late in all of this is Jay Powell. Jay Powell should tell Lisa Cook, you need to take a leave of absence. We're going to figure this out. Nobody's judge, jury, and executioner. You got the thing needs to play out.
It's already out there, though.
But it is. But while it's happening, you need to step away because this is about.
Now it's.
This is about. It's about Fed independence, fine.
Right.
It's also about Fed accountability.
Right.
And that's the part of this conversion that none of the president's critics want to talk about.
And then when Gavin Newsom gets in there and he does the same thing, he's going to quote Brian Benberg and say, this is about Fed accountability. We leaked the story. We want them out.
I would love Gavin Newsom to want Fed accountability. I would love.
No, but it's not accountability.
If he said
it's not accountability. It's Fed controlled by the executive branch.
On the Fed board with mortgage fraud, and they're not going to be held accountable.
Wait until they mention your name as when you're guilty before even being proven
Only
guilty.
one thing to do here, to be fair.
I'm just saying.
You don't know all the things I'm guilty of, Charles. You don't know.
Making allegations and then whacking governors is not the way to go with a board so important as the Fed, the independent Fed. If it's true that she committed fraud, run a process. Accelerate her trial on behalf of the people of America. Now, start it next week and say, did you or not commit mortgage fraud?
Sure.
Then we don't have to have this debate for 2 years. Mostly these cases go through the process of a 24-month period as they get finally in front of a judge. So that's wrong in this case because we can't have this cloud hanging over the Fed, the executive using it to try and change the tonality of the board, whether that's good or bad, different debate. But this woman is being fried like a chicken on a spit right now. And maybe that's fair, maybe that isn't. The resolution is accelerate the process.
Can I just say one thing? The Fed came out with a statement yesterday, and that statement essentially showed us that the whole process is going to take months and months.
Doesn't have to.
That's what they said. What the Fed said, the way they're going to handle it is to go through the entire legal process before any decision is made by Powell or whomever it is, whether it's a joint decision. Exactly. That's just the point, is that they're trying to spread it out as long as possible so that essentially all of the big decisions about who the next Fed chief will be will have been made by then.
That's an accountability dodge. Like this is. Why do you need months? There's boxes on a form where they checked or not. Within 2 weeks,
and their signatures.
Yes or no, and their signatures. You can figure that out quickly, but when
they're not doing that. They're going through the legal process.
When you take months, then people are like, "Yep, see these guys? They just run out the clock on you, and they're never accountable."
When the police arrest you, it doesn't take months, and that's kind of the missing sort of. That's
So
the
you
analogy.
agree, Charlie?
Yes, I agree with what you're saying.
Accelerate it.
Yeah, yes, now.
We would all agree, but
here-
you can't. They're saying they're not
but
going to
here's
do
the
it.
thing- But here's the thing: when the cops arrest you, they have just cause, right? They've done an investigation. Sometimes they're right. Most of the time they're right. Sometimes they're wrong. That's why there's a jury. you go before a judge and a jury. She didn't have any of that. She didn't have any of that sort of equivalent. She literally had a member of the administration blurt out that she's guilty. And that's wrong. That's by every stretch of the imagination, by any legal standard. I don't know how anybody can say that's a good thing.
Well, she's still there right now.
Yeah.
What about the number of people, even recently, who have stepped aside from their positions of authority within the Federal Reserve when even questionable activity came to light, whether it was trading, whether it was, I think it was the vice chair,
Yeah.
Rich Clarida, stepped aside,
that.
and it was Elizabeth Warren who said the optics called for scrutiny, and it was a bond. It was a bond fund.
He bought
equity fund.
something. It was ridiculous. I remember that.
Well,
I covered it at the time.
but
I'm not going to. Why defend this based on Elizabeth Warren, who's like the worst example of a public official?
I said that there have been people who have stepped aside from their positions recently, including the Fed vice chair, which was just a few years ago.
Maybe it wasn't right.
Well, maybe the documentation, you have
I'm just
two.
saying that
You have two mortgages you took out within 2 weeks.
Listen, I'm not
of each
defending her.
other.
I find it absurd that she's just. If that was me, I'd be like, I didn't do it, or
And
I
Charlie,
screwed up.
owner occupancy fraud is something that the Fed comes
know.
out with papers
I know,
on.
but-
I mean, she's violating. It's not so much a legal. Hold on, it's not so
crime.
much a legal
No,
issue.
you hold
it's
on.
the fact. It's
You know, do you like? Do you
Don't
like
interrupt
due
me when I'm interrupting you.
Do you like due process?
The point, yes, but the point is she's violating what the
know.
Fed itself, the company that
Maybe
she works
she's
for.
violating. Maybe.
The company that she works for writes papers about the danger of owner occupancy
not a conviction.
fraud. It's not a conviction, but it just shows that internally
It's a
they need to
standard.
take care of this
Wait a second.
quickly.
We need some
Internally,
We need
not
some due
through the
process
legal
standard.
process.
If Bill Pulte is going to be investigating everybody's mortgages that doesn't like Trump, we need to have a standard. My view is that Bill Pulte should not be saying, "Okay, I just investigated David Asman. You know what? I don't like what he said
Go
on TV
for it.
about Trump."
See, now he's roping you into this now. He wants to get all of
Well,
us
that's the whole
implicated.
thing. Put yourself in the shoes of the person being accused a little bit.
Well,
and then, and by the way, after an investigation,
you're turning the cop into the bad guy and
No, I'm
not the
not.
accused person.
He's not a cop.
I find that really questionable.
Wait. You
The
say
Federal
Bill,
Housing Finance Administrator.
They have law enforcement authority.
They have.
Come on.
I'm using cop
They can
in
refer.
the broad
They
sense.
can
The cop should be Pam Bondi.
They are.
That's who it should be.
What
After
There's a-
investigation.
have we learned
They-
here? Don't defraud on mortgages.
Yeah, well, that too.
It's that simple.
There you go.
There you have it.
Has
My
there been
goodness.
anybody that ever got accused of something that didn't do it? That's why we have due process.
I actually think most of this stuff is done by banks, and they just go through the process. You sign the bottom of the mortgage.
Listen, Trump
you
said-
may not even look which box.
Hey,
is
Trump-
you know what? You would never, if these mortgages, if you're a schlub like me, that's the first thing they look at.
Yeah.
Is like, you're taking out 2 mortgages. The second one, where do you live? Where do you work?
Right.
That's not your primary.
Right.
You can't work here and that's your primary. Wait, you're working here and you say you're living.
You think there's
at-
zero chance that she didn't know she defrauded the government? If she did defraud.
And Charlie,
You have
4
to-
words, just
they-
4
it's
words.
one of the
She probably
first
did.
things.
I don't care. She probably did. but
4
she deserves-
words could solve
She
this.
deserves due process.
4
like you do.
words could solve your due processing. I didn't do it.
That's not
we
due
have it.
process. That's
4.
denial.
You can say whether you did it or didn't do it and save the Fed's reputation
Don't
and
you
a
think
lot
her
of
lawyers are
time and
saying,
effort.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
You know who Pam Bondi is, right? She's supposed to be doing that, not Bill Pulte.
Isn't he supposed to be
He referred it to her.
recommending
He referred it.
He
referrals?
referred it to her.
That's
And then
exactly
what did he
what
do
it
after
is.
that?
That's
What did
the
he
way
have
the
to do
law
that?
works,
What did he do
Charlie.
after that?
Doesn't matter. He
It
referred
does
to her.
matter. That's called
tweet all he
called
wants.
lack of due process.